the West Coast, why I moved across the country to the West Coast, and why I will one day leave the country. So I recently moved to Arizona and I live in the desert now, which is an experience. When I first came here, I was kind of like shell-shocked just because like the culture is so different. I feel like the West Coast generally suits my vibe more. There's a lot more happier people here. There's a lot of creative people here. There's a lot of people who are studying and in school and just have like a lot of hustle and bustle. Even though I don't necessarily like live in the city part of it, I feel very content like living in this suburb, because from where I came from before, it was like a small city and kind of like everybody knew each other. And I've moved around my whole life. Like I started off living in New Jersey, and then we moved to Florida, and then we moved to Tennessee, and now I'm currently living in Arizona. So I've kind of seen a lot of the United States already, and while we were like making our way here, I definitely got a major tour of the United States, along with all the vacations that I've taken. Like took a trip to Illinois recently, which was really good. Like I've seen all of America. But I really like living on the West Coast because, like I was saying, when I lived in Tennessee and the city that I lived in, it was a small city where kind of like everybody knew each other. It was definitely one of those areas that a lot of the people who grew up there were from there. And then there was me who was like new, but I kind of got used to it, and I got used to how like quiet it was. I definitely liked how verdant and green it was. It was very beautiful out there. The people were, I would say moderate, like it depends. Some of the people you would meet, they would be really cool and really nice. And then some of the people you would meet, well, it was Tennessee, so you know how Tennesseans act. But overall, it was really, really good. Except for going places. Like I noticed here, it's a lot easier for me to go to Starbucks or to go get food or to go to the bar or to find a place like to dance, you know what I'm saying? And back in Tennessee, it was a lot harder for me to find a place to connect with people my age and to not just go on like that one boulevard, that one street. If you're from where I'm from, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's this one place where everybody goes and all the traffic builds, and that's where everybody goes on Fridays, Saturdays. That's where it's like, it's one center. Over here, we have like 5 of those. Like where I live now, there's so many shopping centers and so many places to eat and so much things to do that it's honestly mind-boggling. Everything about the West Coast is just as great as I thought it would be. So let's talk about the opportunities and the creative scene down here. I have met so many good people down here. When I say that there is an amazing opportunity and creative scene down here, it's incredible. Coming from Tennessee, there were definitely opportunities, but I think that it depends on, you know, kind of where you veer more towards. If you're looking to be in entertainment, like doing photo shoots, being on radio, just doing anything creative, there's opportunities there, but it's definitely not the kind of opportunities that you'll see when you come to the West Coast. There's a lot of more, it's more easy to network and connect with people, even being in Arizona, than it ever was in Tennessee. And I definitely think that using the internet and like having your phone at your disposal is incredibly good and a great tool, but there's nothing quite as good as actually like just sitting with people and connecting with people. For example, recently I was at the beauty salon with my mom and she was getting her hair done. And while we were there, I was meeting some of the most creative people ever. It was so good. And the conversation and the energy was flowing and going. I was genuinely excited. I haven't felt like that in like a long time. So I was kind of nervous, but I didn't let it get to me. I still spoke to everyone, and it actually turned out that we had such great conversation. I met some lovely ladies that day. There were some people who were like graphic designers, writers. I met a wonderful radio host, and that was really cool. And I just made some really good connections that day. And there's also like a lot more events here to attend, especially like in the Phoenix area. Again, I live in the suburbs, so I'm like an hour away from there, but there's still a lot of like really great opportunities here, even in my city where I live currently. Like I'm going to attend a women's empowerment event. It's gonna be a wine tasting and financial freedom empowerment kind of vibe. So I'll definitely be taking you guys with me there and be sharing what it is that I learned. So far, it's just been really good getting accustomed to the culture and the weather. When you first move to the West Coast, depending on where you come from, you might find that you get like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm like more lightheaded out here, but like the dust storms and stuff starts messing with like your mucus, and it's weird. Like, I don't know, especially with like the mountains and like the elevation, like there's a lot of things that your body will like physically have to get used to. But the best news is that there's no mosquitoes, and that is, I get to wear outfits like this all the time because it's the desert and there's no mosquitoes. It just feels so good. It feels like this is exactly where I belong. Like, if I finally feel like I found my city, I found my people. I remember my one friend, he had recently moved to New York, and he was just talking about his experience, and he was like, you would love it down here, because at the time I was still in Tennessee. I've been living in Arizona now for a little over a year, but at that time I was still in Tennessee, and he had just moved to New York, and he was essentially telling me like the vibe down there was different. Like, the people accepted him more, he got along well, essentially he was more in alignment with people and things that it was that he enjoyed more, because he was living in the city and he thought that I would love it. But honey, look, I have family who's from New York. No disrespect to New York, love New York. It is not for me. It's not for me. I need the sun. The sun literally invigorates me. Like, I feel like I am empowered by the sun, and therefore I needed to move to the heat, the hot, the desert that is Arizona. And so this is where I found myself, and I'm genuinely just enjoying myself. Like, I'm closer to the beach. Like I said, the opportunities down here are sensational. I have met so many wonderful creatives and people who it is that I get along with better down here. I don't know. I think it's like I said with my friend, like once you move somewhere or once you go somewhere, it just puts you in alignment with those things, places, and people who you will be able to enjoy and resonate with. It's just been a lot of really great change for me. I think the biggest change that I've noticed in myself is that I'm a lot more patient. I'm a lot more calm. I think that I used to kind of rush myself and throw myself into things, not necessarily thinking about the way that it was that I truly felt about them, you know, and kind of putting pressure on myself to make sure that I accomplish these things on time. It's like I was putting pressure on myself to accomplish certain things on a time limit, and I wasn't thinking about why I felt like I needed to do it right then and there, and why I needed to have pressure on myself in order to feel like I could do it. I feel like down here I've gained a new sense of self, which is someone who is a lot more independent. My independence has enabled me. I don't know if that's a good word. My independence has allowed me to level up in ways that I never saw for myself before. Like I said, I'm a very outgoing person, but I feel like being here has brought that out of me more and has allowed me to connect with other people more. I feel like I'm a very creative person, but being down here has, again, elevated that more and allowed me to feel content and open with what it is that I'm creating for myself and for the world. I feel that in the past, I was more concerned about the way that my art impacted others opposed to the way that it impacted me. And now I am going more within, and I am looking at what is it that I'm creating and how is it helping to truly heal the collective conscience? What is it that I am doing and how is it helping me to elevate to the places of prosperity, love, unity, and peace, and things that it is that I want to achieve? You know, how are these things that it is that I'm doing on a daily basis building up to those big things that help me achieve those goals eventually? It's been a ride that I'm proud of because it, again, has taught me to be patient. It has taught me to be okay with and to connect with others. It has taught me to be open. When you live in a new city and in a new environment, it opens you up and it makes it easier to communicate with people and be this version of yourself that it is that you have always wanted to be. I definitely feel like I'm becoming the best version of myself because living here is allowing me to open up, and it is boosting the things about myself that it is that I have wanted to showcase more, including getting an education. I'm currently getting an education out here. I'm enrolled in college, and I'm looking forward to what furthering my education will do for me. I'm just really at a place in my life where I feel everything is coming together for me because I'm in a deeper sense of alignment with myself and with the world at large. It just feels like I have a better understanding of myself and the world as a whole right now. So that's how I feel about moving to the West Coast. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to the podcast today or watching the video. I appreciate you all so much, and I look forward to next time.